Dear listeners, welcome at the fourth episode from the series Ashen's Complex and also crossover episode for the series Slides of the Left on podcast channel Solid State Society. For quite some time, I was thinking how to end Ashen's Complex series. And I also was thinking about another great lie what the feminism, what the left is spreading through our society. So we will be more sustainable to their lies and manipulation. And I was starting to prepare the basic information for this episode, and I want to talk about basically the most important lie what these evil ideologies are creating, what the feminists as the ideology created, and as the many other ideologies are actually creating or did create in past. And that's the myth and lie of class or common enemy. It's the lie about how the communists was betraying the capitalists as this evil imperialists who exploit people. It's the same way as the capitalists was saying that communists are evil and just want to steal your money and your things. It's the same way as the feminism are trying to depict it, that our society is evil man's patriarchy created by man, only for man, and basically exploiting women in when in reality our society is more matriarchy where the men are seen as second class citizens. That was basically the third episode about lie or the patriarchy. But I want to talk about the common enemy or the feminism and how it's actually destroying our world. But then actually appeared thing that is quite talk about on internet right now. And it actually was the second thing what persuades me basically to create this episode about how the feminism was trying to tell you that all other people, all the conservatives, all the people who are fighting against the sexual revolution or against the feminism are evil. And the same way as other ideologies always persuade their people that the enemies outside are there, they are inside, outside, and they are working against them. One of the great piece of this class enemy is the fictional state of Gilead from Handmaid's Tale, the system and regime that is more focused on the family and basically taking women's rights, destroying sexual revolution, and putting women to their place where they're supposed to be, where they're supposed to be. And I want in this episode want to show you on two great examples why that is basically just great lie to force you unable to see reality that they are the evil and they are the ones who are destroying human life. And this thing what I want to talk or one of the two things what I want to talk as to prove that class enemy, what the feminists are creating, is just great lie. It's example of OnlyFans model and basically prostitute Lily Phillips. But before that, I want to little bit start about how the propaganda is actually spread through the society, how it's manipulating you, and why is that bad, and why is that basically lie. If you heard my first series on this channel, Rise and Fall of Capitalism, you knew that I am a person who is living my entire life in Middle European country that was communist country, communist dictatorship for 40 years that end basically at the end of 80s. I was born in 80s, so I lived sometime in this communist era and also watch all these propaganda tools, all this part of culture, what the communists creating, and that's supposed to blame capitalists, how the capitalists are evil, how they are evil imperialistic that want to exploit working people. So I was aware of that. I watch that. I hear that. I hear their arguments. But luckily for me, I was not living there for entire childhood or long enough to be sustained by this propaganda. I just knew it. On the other hand, I was an also person who lived at least as a teenager through these wild capitalist night. 90s in post-communist countries was the wildest capitalism ever from basically end of Wild West in America. It was wildest uncontrolled market system where the state was seen as someone that almost should not be, and capitalism was everywhere. Basically every American was the greatest. We literally celebrated opening of McDonald's restaurant here, so I remember that. And then I also remember after basically 20 years of the capitalism, when the capitalism, same as basically everybody else, became in late stage. That's great calling. I like this that expression late stage. Late stage literally means that system is collapsing. Late stage capitalism means that capitalism is finally collapsing and it needs to be switched on another system. Unfortunately for all of us, and especially for us in my country, when the communism was collapsing, we already knew what the system will be in next regime. When the communism was collapsing, everybody knew that there would be democracy and there will be capitalism. But when the capitalism is now collapsing, nobody knew what will be next, or at least one person knew what will be next. And the capitalists was blaming when they will start collapsing, they always pick up these evil parts and errors and flaws in previous communist system. So basically, you have two sides, one on the left, one on the right, constantly blaming bad things on each other. I literally saw that. I remember that. I saw that almost every day. And trust me, they both are the same. Propaganda is lies, and you should not believe them. You should not believe in propaganda. You should think about the things yourself. You should think above what they are telling you. You should not just take information, but actually think about think information. What anyone, even me, is telling you. Just think what you are receiving, and then you will come with your own ideas. But the capitalism, communism was always the same. They always pick up these errors in opposite system. They always make this ground myth about how the other system was huge and evil, and they never admitted their own system is flawed in many ways. They never look on wider picture of whole society if it's actually better for everybody or it's just good or bad for one group. They never do that, and that's why it's propaganda. It's not just pointing out the errors, it's just propaganda. And the feminism, as the left, is doing the same. They say that the woman was oppressed, that sexual revolution is right, that the woman's supposed to be promiscuous as much as they want, and and because of that, they're supposed to be not held accountable for their actions, and basically they said that there is no longer need for existential of traditional monogamous family. That's their now class or common enemy. The enemy of the feminist is family. And so when they're creating this great myth of evil Gilead, that's that regime or system from Handmaid's Tale that is focusing more on family, even taking rights of people, women and men alike, to just force on society more family-like system, of course, is seen as bad. But in example of Lily Phillips and one another girl from whatever podcast, I want to express you that actually the feminists, same as the capitalists and communists, they are the bad one. They are the evil one. Because this is not joke. This is not game. It's not about if someone will fuck with 100 guys or not. It's about actual lives of the people. Because as one of the commenters, when the Lily Phillips have did what she did, he made a comment that she will kill herself one day. And that comment was actually not the one person who was just internet troll who can say whatever he wants and just write, oh, I wish you will kill yourself, or I wish your children will die in front of you, I wish the animals will eat your face and things like that. No, it was generous, and actually he was true, because we knew that lots of female porn stars are not just females, but lots of porn stars are killing themselves. They are unable to live their lives. They are unable to integrate it in society back because of what they did, because the porn industry, the porn what they was creating, and that's the point. For those who do not know, never heard, or maybe it's too time in the past, Lily Phillips is OnlyFans, basically online prostitute, who is now famous because she slept with 100 different basic anonymous guys in one day, and then in planning also slept broke the world record and slept with 1,000 guys in one day. And one of the documentarists in Britain, because she is from the Britain, took opportunity and he made a documentary video about her and what she did. And it actually became kind of viral because he was speaking with her, he was analyzing her in many ways. He was not attacking, he was not like shameful. He was just asking normal questions. He had his own concern, but still he was not like true like persuading her constantly that she's supposed to not do that. And one of the most viral videos, or part of the documentary, is when this end, when she finished 101 guy, because it was actually one more guy more, uh, the commentator started to speak with her, ask her normal question like, when did you last eat, and how you are feeling, and she started to cry because she was just for the moment start to realizing, or the guilt in her head was trying to expand in her mind what she actually did and why is that maybe bad. And she started to cry. She was emotionally broke. Of course, day after she made announcement that she want to sleep in thousand men. We hope we can just hope that this will not happen. But the comments about it, how different groups was actually commenting, and why this is great example of why we should have Gilead or system like Gilead. When I say Gilead, I don't mean Gilead itself, but I mean system that will be more autocratical. It will tell more instead of our precious rights, like the feminists said, the right to be basically whore, how the system's supposed to be more forcing you as human became part of family, create family, have children, build society, and how this is better. Why the Gilead is better and life saving than what we have today. So I want to speak. I will first start to speak about different groups actually reacting on it. First, there was the feminist. And it's actually the funny part how the feminists created this myth of rape culture in there saying that is the rape is basically everywhere. Every man is potential rapist. Rape could happen everywhere, and basically every girl was raped in some past or will be raped in future. Basically, it reminds me very much in the Dark Ages, in Middle Age, as the Europeans was depicting that the devil is behind everything. Oh, your cow is not giving you enough milk. That's the devil. Your field crops are not growing on your field. That's the devil. Flood just came and destroy your house and take your family members. That's the devil. Fires spread in neighborhood forest. That's the devil. Everything was devil for, and she basically the feminist did basically the same with rape. Rape is everything. Rape is everywhere. Rape is behind anything. So, and you're supposed to be afraid, constantly afraid. And most of women are actually afraid. They are constantly afraid, and that's why actually they created OnlyFans because they wanted to move from porn industry because they do not feel safe to safety net of their own homes. It's funny argument, but never mind. And actually, the most almost funny part is how this is full circle of the feminism because feminism is telling young women or all women that rape is everywhere, but they're supposed to be basically this washing machines on dicks. They're supposed to be promiscuous as much, and the full circle is that the women are basically letting themselves to be raped because that's what Lily Phillips did. She let herself be raped basically, and I didn't understand it. There was document where what I saw a few years ago, where one of the ex porn industry porn star was talking about how she has sex with this guy for money and how she didn't like it, and she says her precise words was, if there was not this money on the table, what he paid me to have sex with him, it would be basically rape. And I thought for the moment, I actually thought for a long time that how aggressively offensive is that? He paid you, you allow that willingly, so why he is supposed to rape you? But no, the part is that this and what Lily Phillips did was that she did rape on herself. The men are not the one who's supposed to be blamed. She did it herself, and it doesn't matter if there is man or there will be basically some kind of machine with dildo on the end. She did it on. She did something bad on herself. The man is not the problem, she is the problem. And the feminist would be actually furious if there would be some kind of case where 100 men would force themselves on the girl and have a sex with her without her acknowledgement. But when the girl do it for herself, it's alright, or should be alright by their logic. And this is what feminism leads to. It actually leads to full circle. It's perpetuum mobile, inner circle. The feminism is telling you that something is wrong. The fact that you are washing machines on dicks, but if someone put your dick inside your vagina, then it's basically worst crime on the world. But it's okay to do whatever you want and basically let yourself be used with 100 guys in one day. And I'm not blaming the man. I will explain it more deeply. But let herself basically rape by herself. That's what she did. That's why it's bad. Because the rape is supposed to be bad for some reason. And these reasons are the same as why that what she did was bad. And why the society should not allow this kind of behavior. So let's talk a little bit about how different groups respond on it because it's funny. First group would respond on it was typical feminists. Feminists that are in these huge media houses, in newspapers and other journalists, big companies. They respond the way how it could be predicted. That it's not her fault that she's exploited, and it's actually that hundreds men fault. That yeah. So the woman is doing what she wants, as the feminists are praying what as they say, and when the woman is did something what she wants, then it's now bad and it was exploiting her from man's side. So, precisely female feminist logic whatever men do is always bad, whatever women do is always good, and if something bad actually happened from that is rooted in female action, you will always blame the man. You will always blame evil patriarchy. And I will actually blame for this and for other examples. I actually blame feminism and capitalism together. Even when the feminism is leftist ideology and capitalism is right ideology. But we knew if you heard triquartity of evil, you actually knew how I explained how even sometimes opposite ideologies could actually melt together and merge together, like anarchism and communism merge together. How is that? It's simple. Communism is saying that everything is owned by people. Every house is created by common people who hard work. So we all have right for all the houses, for all the things what humans created. They're supposed to be not ownership by individuality. And the anarchist, on the other hand, says the state is not right and state supposed to not be. And I, as an anarchist, have right to go to whatever house I want and start to live there. It doesn't matter who built it. If he's not there, if the person is not there anymore, or if I'm stronger than that. That's a dirty secret of anarchism. If I'm strong enough, then my neighbor would have a bigger and nicer house, but my neighbor is just old granny and I can overtake her, then I have right to go there and take her house because I have big family. I got wife, I got my parents, I got lots of children, so I have right to take it. And if you think about it, the combination of these logic could exist. You can say, oh, all the houses are created by people, and because all the houses are created by people, then I have right to choose whatever house I want and just start to occupying it. And the same way is actually, and this is a great example, how the ideas of leftist feminism can combine with pragmatism of capitalism. Because it's funny that feminism are saying that the capitalism is actually enemy of the woman, is against the feminism and sexual revolution, but it's actually capitalism who is literally feeding on errors as the feminism is on the woman. The capitalist company, like OnlyFans, is spraying on the woman that they are brainwashed by feminism, and this is a great example. But I will get to it a little bit later. So the feminism response, as predicted, is men's fault. It's the fault of the 100 man. And there was another side that was more conservative, like manosphere, like anti-feminist group. They responded it was her fault, and she was actually exploiting that 100 men. And partially it's true. I will explain later. Then there was group that was blaming the documentarist that he took, that he was making this documentary about her and what she was doing, and he didn't stop her. And there was two another not groups but people, a group and person who was actually funny, and their reaction was again predictable. First was I will start from second hand. It was Pearl Davis. Pearl Davis again reacted the way that all these trade wives, basically Christian like now more monogamous wives, are responding on her and try to blame others and try to elevate her from basically take responsibility from what Lily Phillips did. And then I actually watch a video from this precise, now thread wide Christian, the woman who find God, that she was actually a prostitute for many years before. And I understand the Pearl Davis reaction was not much about Lily Phillips, but about the group of these thread wives, that the Christian wives type. They what she constantly complaining is that error in the church, that woman could do whatever she wants. She could be a whore, basically. She could be run, as the Lily Phillips says, by it's actually her own words. She could be run over by 100 men, but then she will say, "I found God, and now I believe. I will attend to the church every Sunday, and now I'm free of my guilt, and I could do whatever I want." And the church is allowing that, and that's what Pearl Davis is actually complaining. She was more complaining about the action of church, of institution of church, how they approach when the women are failures, when they fail, and then trying to just not take responsibility for their action and just to want to wash them clear, and not about Lily Phillips itself. And that's the truth. That's true. Lots of women, and actually I noticed it in one of the family members in my past. Lots of women are promiscuous in their past. They are fucking whatever they want, and then when the time starts to hit them, when they start to losing their value on dating market, when they are now seeing after effects of their action, when they have problems to uh, bond with another person or find a rightful husband, or father to their children, when they start to see the problems with that, they always switch and became this godlike believers. Oh, God can save me. Or Jesus, this is Christianity. Jesus can save me, and now I'm clean. I'm washed away all my sins. And yes, there's actually a problem. Yes, every person, then this Christian woman are actually right in one thing. Yes, every person can be redeemed. But to be redeemed, you must pay a price for your bad action and you must feel remorse to things what you did in the past. That's the thing. You can be saved by the God if you are really sorry of things what you did and if you pay price for things what you did. And that's the point what Christianity as an institution that is literally collapsing, as we can see worldwide, and just not just a Christian Catholic Church, but most of the churches that they are long older than let's say 500 years are collapsing in our modern world. Then they forgot that there must be these things to be clean of your guilt, and they are not doing that. And the problem with the women are, and that's actually one of the reasons why I believe that there's supposed to be society, autocracy, or you can say dictatorship, that is forcing women to be married with some man because major flaw in the woman's thinking, and that flaw is that women are not capable to take responsibility for their action. They are not programmed like that. Yeah, there was actually one of the again from Manosphere. There's this psychologist, I believe, Dr. Orion something. I actually like him because he is trying to tell you and explain behaviors of women on from psychological perspective, and he was talking about one this topic. He explained or he talked about how in the past he was dating with this girl and she did something wrong. Let's say she took money from their common share account and she spent it on purse or shoes or something. So she did something clearly wrong. But instead of apologizing for him and then trying to fix the error, the mistake, what she did, she just want to call him and offer her body for him. And this is great example what he did about females, our women's behavior. They are not capable to accepting, and this is different from the most men, by the way. They are not capable to taking responsibility. They are not taking actions for their own mistakes. So if she did something in the past, if she did something wrong, then they are trying to dismiss it. They are trying to please others. They are trying to basically find a way out from it. Not fix the problem, but just to find a way out. Just cheat the system. Just to look to please someone who is angry because the mistake, and just to act like she didn't do wrong. And it actually makes sense if you think about it. I believe it was one of the podcasts that some men point out that in the past and in most time of the history, women was not taking responsibility for their actions. And this is problem when they say that women could not have credit cards. Yes, because it was their husband who was actually owning debt of their wives. That's why the wives do not have credit cards very early. And it's the same with everything because In the past, in 99.9 time in history of humankind, woman was basically, I know this is a bad word, but is describing situation best, owning by some man. So the woman, when she was young, she had father. Then she goes from father home to husband home. Then the husband was responsible for her. And when she lived long enough, then the oldest son probably became responsible after death of the husband. So there was always some man that took responsibility for actions of the woman. That's why women actually never learn how to take responsibility for their actions. And this is problem. This is now flaw in their thinking. So Pearl Davis and whatever podcast to podcasts from Manosphere what I actually like because all other podcasts are basically typical right wing thinking. They are trying to persuade the man to behave the way that women will start to like them. Basically, other podcasts like Fresh and Fit are trying to tell you, oh, you are a man, no woman likes you, so go to the gym, start to work on you, and start to do something with your finance and become rich. And this is most of the manosphere or red pill or incel area is saying. And I actually hate it. I hate it very much because it makes no sense. It's denying simple economic facts, and it's funny from the people who are saying that they are good with the money and finance, it's denying simple fact that there is inflation. If let's say third of the man, millions of men worldwide would now see the fresh and fit or Jordan Peterson and start to go to the gym and in just 1 year have muscular six-pack figure and start some kind of business and all became millionaires. So everybody would be millionaire. Everybody would be in fit shape with six pack, so it will be no longer valuable for the woman. That's the point. Women are pointing out their hypergamy is pointing out for the most powerful, for most valuable, for most fit, for most rich. If everybody became rich, then nobody would be rich. Superman is Superman only because he's here, but if everybody would be on Krypton, then everybody, the Superman would not be Superman. That's the point, and that's why I hate this Manosphere podcast. But whatever podcast and Pearl Davis podcast are actually the ones who are not pushing you these ideas, and they are just funny shows. I like them, even when I have some points that like whatever podcast is now too long for me, but I still like them. The problem with them is they are taking too lightly for my appetite. They are doing that as the show, and it's not show. It's about actually about people's life. Dating is about defining partner. It's important thing. But even then, Brian Atlas from whatever podcast and Per Davis, and that's the root cause of her reaction on Lily Phillips is because they met and they was forced to work with more than thousands and thousands of modern women. I genuinely believe, and I saw on both of them, on Paul Davis and on Brian Atlas from whatever podcast, they are becoming a little bit resentful and basically angry on the woman. I don't blame them. I actually understand that. If you are every week or several times during the week, if you are must basically fight or argue with 5 to 10 angry, selfish, feminist, modern women, yes, you became angry on them, and that's what the point of Paul Davis was. That all these Christian hoes who was promiscuous in past, now looking on Lilith the way that, oh, she's exposed, she's not her fault, and everybody is evil, and the way as the Christian woman want to basically take out their responsibility. That's the flaw in the woman thinking. And because the Pearl Davis, as the Brian Atlas, already experienced the worst from the woman's behavior, at least on dating area, then they are resentful towards women. It's understandable. And my point is that she's actually right. We, as the society and as a religious institution Catholics, like Catholic Church, should force some kind of repayment for their action. They're supposed to not say that, oh, I'm now free and I just baptized myself again and now free of my sins, and you should act towards me like I didn't do bad things in the past. Yes, you did, and you must pay the price. Otherwise, all the people will do the same, and that will lead in lots of people who will be suffering. And this is actually a great example with Lily Phillips because she's actually not the first one. And all these people, all these groups never talk about it. That there is world record of a woman that slept with 919 men in one day. So Lily Phillips is far from that. Even when she wants to break the record of this woman. And I want to talk about it a little bit because I must admit it, when I was young, basically at the end of the 90s, when I was a young teenager, there was a show, basically a sexual magazine in one of the TV stations in my country after 10 p.m. And I actually saw some kind of sneak peek. I was still young, so I didn't watch it. It was not pornographic. It was basically same like most of the modern feminist sexual podcasts. They are even now even harsh in these days. So it's funny how far we get in just 30 years. But my point is, what I'm talking about is I saw like the sneak peek from what I believe back then was broke of this record. The woman sleep with most men. And I remember that after many years, and I went and tried to find it on internet. And when I typed word record, I discovered that there was this porn star called Lisa Sparks who did it. She holds now record 990 men in one row in one day. And when I saw that, actually was suspicious. Oh, not suspicious. It was something wrong because I did remember the girl was actually blonde and Lisa Sparks is not blonde. And then I actually find after many years that what I saw was not record in most men sleeping with one woman. It was the greatest group sex that's supposed to be. It was Daytona 600, I believe, or something like that. It was from Texas, and the porn star there was actually blown some rainy day or something like that. I don't remember her name. It doesn't matter. But that's what I actually saw back then when I was young. And you are probably asking yourself why I'm talking about it. Why I'm telling you that. Because with Lily Fillings, I realized something. Yes, there is Lisa Sparks, and there was this blonde girl before. Blonde girl have took like 600 man or more than 500 man, and Lisa Sparks took uh, in some Poland erotic fast 900 men, and I want to actually talk about both of them because it's telling you something very important about what is happening with Lily Phillips. And actually, Lily Phillips is now giving you new perspective or new light of what happened. I must admit it that when I saw that back then, that blonde girl from Texas who slept with 600 men, I did not consider her as a human being. I said that openly because she was very, it's typical porn stars, especially porn stars from the 90s. Female porn stars from 90s was artificial, big boobs, big lips, um the ridiculous type of hair, makeups, and they was reshaped by industry very much. You can see that. And now porn stars, um, especially probably OnlyFans, and because internet is more available, they look more natural, and that's what actually Liz Phillips is because it's more natural. You actually see more human inside of her instead these two porn stars actors before that in 90s and 2004. And that's my point. And actually pointing me right in the way that I realized with Lilith, even with Lilith Phillips, because whatever you saw some of her posts from her Twitter or something like that, she always makes this beautiful, gorgeous picture where she looks like Barbie doll and she has perfect hair and she's not looking so artificial as the girl back then, as the Rainy Girl or Lisa Sparks, but she is looking artificial and it's actually pointing me right. I talk about it in many times in the past in series like Gender Wars that what the women are not realizing is that they are programmed to express themselves. They are programmed to sexualize themselves. But what they do not realize that there is spectrum. On one end, there is female, the woman, as a human being, and on another side of the spectrum is the woman as sexual object for us. They do not understand that. And the problem is, and what they do not understand is more the woman is sexualized herself, more she's wearing the makeup, more she is doing her hair, more she is showing her breasts, more she is showing her butt. She is moving more to the left side. So then she became more sexual object, but with more sexual object, she's less actually human. That we have empathy towards. And that's the point, and that's what actually happened to me with the two porn actresses. Because back then I never saw actually human in them. The blonde girl was so she had fake hair, big lips, artificial, big huge artificial breasts. So she was just Barbie doll. She was not human. And then when I discovered the actual world record, Lisa Sparks, then Lisa Sparks is not so artificial. Now you can see that she became fat, yes, but it's okay. She looks like typical mommy, typical community mommy who have several children, maybe adult now have grandchildren. She's not granny yet, but she's like mommy in good shape. In the way like she's not overly obese, but she's not like fit, very fit as she was. But I'm actually glad I discovered her because whenever I saw some interview or photo with her, I actually see something. Oh, maybe it's my feeling, but I could feel that there is something in Lisa Sparks missing. Like like something like her soul was taken off. And I don't mean like literally soul, but something wrong is with her. You can actually see that. Watch some watch some videos with her. Watch some interviews with her in last few years. You actually could see literally the blonde girl end up well as well, by the way. But Lisa Sparks, you can see actually in her eyes that is something missing from her. That is something wrong with her. That there is some damage. And it's actually interesting if you think that feminists are saying that women have constant living if someone forces themselves, when they have sex with someone who they don't want, then they are raped, and then it's something missing from their souls. And this is precisely the same situation. But she did it herself. She was the one, but actually that broke record, for your information, was competition between her and other girls in that. It was in Poland 2004, and she wins that. She broke the record, and she was just competing with another girl, another porn star back then. And I must admit, I never talk about them. I never thought about them as about human beings. But when Lily Phillips is doing that, now I saw her as a human being, and now I saw how this is actually damaging. And I want to a little bit explain to you why. It's not just because all that makeup, but because when they are in the Lisa Sparks and the blonde girl from that world record, they was already in industry for some time. So something broke in them before, and when they did the stump group sex, it was just actually a small step from what they already did. They was already broken. But the Lily Phillips, because she's OnlyFans girl, so she's prostitute, but she's not porn star. She is not in porn. They would first go make a scenes where there was like young, naive schoolgirl from neighborhood. Then they would make harder scene, and then eventually after some weeks or some time, they would actually get in the things like this world record in most men in one row, because the porn industry is paying you more money for more extreme things. And actually, OnlyFans is doing a little bit similar. And the reason why she did it was marketing as well. But I will get to it. The problem is that on Lily Phillips, you can actually, and especially I'm glad that that young guy did that document and was speaking with her as with actual human being, and ask her what how she's feeling if she eat like normal humans do, and that makes her, in my eyes, and I believe in eyes of many other people, as actually human who did something bad compared to these porn actresses, what we actually saw only as the tools, as blow up dolls, not as humans anymore. This was more revealing. And I want to go deep to why is that. And again, if you remember in many series, I point out that our world is basically torn apart between left and right. Left is constantly blaming others for your actions. So if you are fat, it's because the society is full of these bad food. Uh, if you are heavy drunker, if you are heavy alcoholic, or you are addicted to drugs, it's because it's so normal in society to buy drinks. It's so normal in society to buy drugs. And the leftists are always blaming society, not you. On another side, on the right, the capitalists, and they like manosphere, and they always blame yourself, you as the individual. You are poor, just go and work harder and become better businessman, and you will get rich. Are you fat? You must just work harder and become fit because you don't have will. Are you living on the street as homeless? So you must just work harder and you will get from the street. Do you see? It's two extremes, left and right, and this is the great example. Left is feminism that is blaming society. All society forced this poor woman on that, on doing that, and this evil man who showed up are evil because evil patriarchy and evil system that is exploiting this poor girl what she do not know what she's doing. They are blaming society. On the other hand, you have right-wing manosphere that is saying no, it's actually just her mistake. You cannot blame society. You are totally 100% responsible for your action, and you have do not right to blame anybody else. Two opposite extremes. And I already explained that I am actually standing in between. I reject both extremes. And this, I want to tell you how this is actually great example. It's not always mistake one side or second side. It's mistake basically everybody. And this is what is happening. Yes, of course, it's mistake of political and she is responsible. She's adult person and she's responsible for her action. And she's actually, I agree with that, she is exploiting that man. Because I'm glad that the documentary is out because the documentarist was actually talking or trying to talk with some of that men and who come and there was actually interesting part that there was a guy who slept with Philip who was shaking. So he was actually shaken by this what happened. So it was not like the feminists are constantly saying that we men we are these evil animals who just want to rape everything and anyone and we don't care and we don't have any emotions. That boy or that man obviously have emotions and he even made mistake and it was bad for him as well what he did not apprehend before. And there was a second guy that he said actually I was not understanding why the guys came, why do they? But there was actually a second guy who point out why he's doing that or why all these men are doing that. He told the documentarist that he actually spent almost 100 British pounds. It's about 1,000 euros or more than $1,000 on travel there, have tested be there, basically everything to get and have 5 minutes sex with Lily Phillips. And that is actually showing much because honestly, I'm proud. I'm working in hotel industry, and I know that right now the prices of like high class escorts for 1 hour, for hour, not for 5 minutes, for hour is about $200 to $400. Sorry, or dollars or euros. So this guy actually paid 2 times more to have 5 minutes sex with prostitute online what he could actually pay to prostitute in his own country. So that doesn't make sense. But if you start to think about it, it makes you sense. The reasons why men are doing that, men are desperate. Yes, we constantly say that, and I'm glad it's now became more public. Even the great media how they call it, stable media, the big journal houses are just not talk about it yet too much. But yes, we have male loneliness epidemic. We have lots of men who do not have any relationship, do not have sex, and sex for men are just normal need. It's normal need. It's we need that. It's one of the needs, as need for eating, as need for breathing, as need for having shelter to have home. It's one of the needs. But the man, and in our feminist culture, for some reason, the sexuality of women is basically celebrated, but sexuality of man is always seen as frowned upon. Mans have needs, and these needs are not met, and the men worldwide are desperate. And you can actually see in this document that there was actually lots of men that traveled to the Great Britain to have sex with Lily Phillips. It was not just one country man; it was people from many European countries, and so it was basically men from part of the world, but from any corners of the part of the world. And that is saying something about it. So, because in every community, you can find someone who is desperate, who wants to change, who wants to find a partner, and he could not find that. And if you have thousands of the communities, then you have thousands of people. And there is the problem, because modern problem, because all the modern technologies, these people can connect together. And that's also dangerous in rise of the incel, because they all can connect together. But I want to go a little bit back. He said that he was actually traveling from Switzerland, and he spent 800 British pounds to have 5 minutes sex with a Lily Phillips. Why he is doing it? Because all the men outside are desperate. And yes, most of us are holding back and trying to avoid women, or trying to find out some way as to actually fulfill this need. But at the end, there are always those who are too desperate to do whatever want. And why not the prostitute? Don't forget that she's OnlyFans, and she is not just doing video as the porn star where she has sex with someone and posted you there, but she's actually, or her team is probably responding to that guy. So after some time, he was her subscriber, so he probably have some kind of feel of connection with her, because he was constantly watching on her feed what she's doing, where she's going for coffee, what her friends are, what she's thinking about this movie or that movie. Maybe sometimes even respond on his messages, what he paid, but anyway. So he probably has some kind of feel of connection towards her. That's why he chose to pay this amount to have sex with her instead of just ordering prostitute. Because with prostitute, that is unknown woman, what you do not know in advance, you do not have connection. And man, even when feminists are saying that we are these evil animals who are just fucking whatever we want, whatever is around us, we need connection as well. Intimacy, not just sex. Intimacy is about connection. And that's why these actions are bad. Why sleeping with 100 men? And it actually doesn't matter if it's in one day or in a matter of few months. Why it's bad for the woman especially? Because you are losing capability to connect. And as modern saying is, they are losing capability to pair bond, pair bond with someone else. So basically, what they are saying that they are losing value as potential wife. She would not be able to withstand with the man to marry some man in the future and stay with him for the rest of his life. And that's what I'm talking about as well. I actually thought why that is bad that women have high body count. And it doesn't matter if it's in one row in 24 hours or if it was in period of time of several years. The problem is in women's thinking. That's the basic core. Because women are never satisfied. And I don't mean sexually. I mean with everything. And that's if she have high body count, this create problem. Because when you are, let's say the man want to spend his rest of his life with woman, and woman actually wants that. They want to create pair, they want to create couple, they want to marry. Why the man should find a woman that have body count of 2 instead of 20 or 100? The problem is in the woman because women who have 20, 30, or 100 men, like Lily Phillips had, basically and cruelly to say, if she slept with 20 or more like 20 men, that means that she has 20 different sexual interaction with 20 different men. Both, all of them have different size of penises. All of them was doing in bed something different, and there is great example that if she has 20, that's about normal body count or standard body count of modern Western woman when she wants to marry. It was actually the wife of Andrew from the whatever podcast. His wife Rachel was speaking with the girls in one of the whatever episodes back then, and she was explaining just basic math that typical modern woman wants to marry in her 30s or early 30s, and she spent her 20s just to fucking around, and even when she has like just two stern dating men in 1 year, that is very low number. That means if she starts from 18, from 18 years, that means that she will have bodycon 24 when she will get married. Why is that bad? Is the woman's programming. The programming that is telling them never be satisfied. And what does mean that that woman that have body count of 24 or the woman like Elizabeth Phillips, let's say she will find the man and the man would be perfect. He will be good looking, he will take care about himself, he will be, let's say, rich and take care about her, and he will be perfect basically in every way. But let's say that he will have average size penis and the sex with him will be sometimes good, sometimes bad, but basically overall average. So he would be perfect for her. They will have beautiful children. He will take care about her. He will be good looking. He will take care about her financially and in every way. But he will be average just in sex. And the problem is in women never be satisfied. So the woman's thinking will be after few years, her brain will be on the loop. I can do better. I want better. Even when she love her husband, even when she understood that he, her husband is perfect in all other ways, she would be constantly thinking about one of the guy what follows her back then in her stand with 100 guys, or standard girl, she would be constantly thinking about one of that guy who fucked her when she was on university, and she will be constantly on loop because she would be remembering that there was back then one of her boyfriends that had huge penises and fucked her like dirty whore, and she had multiple orgasms in one stand, and sex with him was like unbelievable. And she would be constantly thinking, can I do better? Can I do better? Can I do better? Can I do better? This will be her look in her. This is how the women are thinking. That's why they are, if they have husband, they are pushing the husband constantly to get salary raise, get promoted, or find better job because they always want better. They are never satisfied with with things what they have. So if they have a husband that is average, that is good in every way, but it's average in bad, they will be constantly thinking about they could do better, especially if they have high body count. So that means that in the past they used to have some boyfriend, some sexual partner that was actually better in the bed than her, and she will be constantly thinking about it. But she will totally forget that yes, in the past she used to have boyfriends that have huge penis and was basically like God in the bed, but he was otherwise total nuisance. He was angry. Um, he was not a good person. He treated her badly. He do not. He was like drug dealer or something like that. He was bad in every way. But the woman's thinking will be, I can do better. I have a good husband, but he is bad in the bad. He is bad in the sex. So I could do better. I could go and find a husband that would be as good as my original husband, but could be better in the sex. So she will literally go, she will divorce him and go try to find. But in reality, she will never find someone like that. That's the point. That's why the woman should not have higher body count because their brain, their programming will literally force them to do then bad decisions, to think that they could do better. When it's for most of them, it's not true. Yes, there are examples, and that's what the women always do. They are exceptions that proving the rule, but that's exceptions. And typical woman's logic is to take exception and says this is the rule. That's not true. Most of the women, two of third women what will divorce will actually never find a new husband. This huge number it is actually. And even if they do, even only one of the 100 will actually find the better man that they have. But their brain is wired to constantly want more. That's the issue. That's why the body count should be low. And entire situation with Lily Phillips is actually how the capitalism and feminism is feeding on errors of our thinking because there is also errors in the man because why that man that paid 800 pounds was okay to sleep with the girl what he was probably love him he likes her and he thinks that she's some kind of special but it was okay to meet with next room another 100 guys who will fuck her before him and after him. Why he was okay? Again, it's the programming. We men are programmed to overcome unbelievable struggles to get our woman, to get our wife. We are literally programmed to overcome unbelievable things and put it on altar to find a woman, find a sexual female partner. And the society, the system, is exploiting this behavior pattern in us. And I want to a little bit say about how the feminism and capitalism is actually both the reason why this happened. Because it's the same with porn industry. The feminism created this demand because feminism says that women should be explorers, they should be promiscuous, and feminism was ideology that actually primarily attacked on family as the model of husband, one wife with children. They attack family. They destroy literally family. And that leads that lots of promiscuous women on one hand and lots of empty, lonely, without sex men on another hand. If there all these men who was anticipated in this action was I do not call them boys because there it was men. And yes, even when they travel to most countries of Europe to have sex with her, still in right society, they supposed to have wife back home, and they in right society supposed to have a sex with wife. The problem is, and that's what actually Pearl Davis was pointing out, that most men who are subscribing and paying these OnlyFans girls are married Christian men. Yes, because married Christian man is in marriage. He cannot go and let's say find prostitute, but the woman is refusing to have sex with him because have sex with your husband is no longer duty, and that's such a problem. That's why I'm telling you that we need Gilead. And in Gilead, I mean society, a regime that will literally force female and male, so man and woman, to become together, live together, man to take care about the woman, and woman take care about the man, so that means feel his need. And one of the man's need is having sex with his wife. And if this was true, then nobody would be willing to go and sleep with Lily Phillips. And I know that many will say, yeah, but in the past this happened often. Yes, in the past, this often happened when there was huge armies walking across the land that do not see their wives for several months or even years. Yes, this happened, but it was always catastrophe. It was always bad. And it's always the feminism, or most feminists, because they are leftists, so basically communists, they are saying that capitalism is evil and capitalism is using a woman. But they are the ones who creating, they are the ones who are creating lonely without sex man. They are the ones who says women who are actually doing, oh, do whatever you want, be sexual as you want, that's bad. Because if they are persuading women that they supposed to go and do these things, and the capitalism is feeding on that. I explained that back then that it's actually capitalism, where this evil corporation like Disney is feeding on the woman's feelings. Do you think the Disney Corporation care about women's rights? No, he just knew that they will feel if they feel the society with notion of feminism, they will sell more T-shirts. They will say, "I'm fucking princess," and this is what happened. And OnlyFans as a corporation is a great example of that. The reason, and most of the manosphere, most of the people on the right, and most of the conservatives was asking why nobody have stopped Lily Phillips, sorry, to did to sleep with 100 men, because there is literally capitalism, the machine, she is machine for making money, and the structure literally create to force her to do it because they are financial supported on her action. What does it mean that the OnlyFans leader, at least leader from the Britain, is her friend? What she's pointing her that she's supposed to do that. So she said, "Oh, it's so feminine to sleep with such a man, such amount man." Her friend Bonnie is literally feeding her this feminist bullshit. How she will be great and how she will know. And by the way, she has internal motive. She is CEO of the company, and she knew, and she actually succeed that if Lily Phillips will do stunts like that, if she will announce, "I will sleep with hundreds of men, I will sleep with 1,000 men in one day," it will get public, and her her OF side will get no, so and more people will go, click, and pay for it. It's money, it's capitalism in the core. And why nobody stabbed her? Because she, Lily Phillips, literally, if I do not count the friend Bonnie, she literally have 8 people, 8 to 9 people, what is paid for the money, what she is, what she is generating by doing this. So and if you have people around you, your workers, they are depending, they are paying their salary, that have salary from the things which you are doing, and from that salary they are paying their mortgage, their food for their children. Of course, they will tell you you're supposed to continue, you're supposed to go down because they are dependent on money what you are generating. This is how the capitalism combination with feminism is creating this situation. First, there's supposed to be no OnlyFans. We're supposed to ask about porn industry in the core because they are doing the same thing. And the second thing, someone should interfere because there's obviously the lady, the Bonnie, the OnlyFans leader, at least in Britain, that is exploiting her. And that's feminist is not saying. And they're exploiting situation on today's market that men are alone. They're exploiting young girl that they don't think that she could be better. And there are 8 other people they are depending on her to generating money, and she will generate money only if she will go to these extreme things. Because most OnlyFans girls are have generating just a very low amount of money. That's that's information what they usually do not say. But because OnlyFans is corporation itself, it want to generate money. So OnlyFans as a corporation must force their girls to do more and more extreme and crazy things, like forcing young girls to sleep with 1,000 men in 24 hours. So literally, this is the worst. I remember as they said back then, like decades ago, that Chinese People's Republic, today's China, is worst things combination from capitalism and communism as well. But this situation is precisely the same. It's worst from the leftist ideology, from the feminism that is telling the woman they're supposed to do whatever they want. They're supposed to be promiscuous as much as they could. They should literally be washing machines on dicks. And in case of the Phillips, it means like industrial washing machine. And on other hand, the capitalism that is literally are feeding on that, making money, making profit on that. So it's like capitalists will literally sell you T-shirt this sign down with the capitalism. This is how twisted it is. And I already stated at the beginning that the creating of public the caste enemy is typical for these regimes. and for ideologies like feminism. And they create one of the greatest boogeyman is Gilead, is Handmaid's Tale. I already made review. If you do not hear it, it's basically the second episode from Gender Wars after gender seventh circle of health or Gender Wars. In second episode, I make a review about the Gilead, and in that I pointed out how entire series and book is trying to manipulate you and trying to sell you precisely as the communists, as the capitalists, as feminists constantly. Oh, the others are bad. I'm the better. They are doing everything wrong. I'm doing everything right. This type of propaganda. Gilead is actually better than it is. And when I said Gilead, I don't mean necessarily to do it precisely what we see in the movies or in the series, sorry. Uh, of course, I understand the hanging people is bad. And if I would be in charge of that system, I would probably inseminate the girls that could that they are fruitful in some laboratory instead of putting them inside a family, because I believe that will probably create greater friction in the family, in the society. But what I mean when I say that we literally need Gilead, I mean that we need more autocratic system that will force the man and woman at young age became husband and wife, at least most of them. Maybe not everybody, but most of them. Lily Phillips is 23. She's supposed to be for 5 years married for some husband, have at least two children, and live in the home of her commander. And I say specifically commander. Why? Because it's obviously different when I say husband to commander. Because husband, at least in today's society, is basically host for parasitical women. Because husbands do not have now right to choose over something. Because all the women are, as I explained in Aschen complex, women are attempting in workforce, then the salary of the husband is now lowered because divorce is possible, because the husband taking woman, his wife, sexually is now seen as rape. Even when one note, if you are willingly marrying someone, then you are granting him consent for rest of your life. Even if divorce would be possible, I generally believe if you ever married them, he could not rape you. Yes, if he will take you after many years after divorce, when you are both living with someone else, okay, I understand it's supposed to not happen, but it's not rape anymore. I'm sorry. The marriage is literally granting consent. That's what actually Jordan Peterson was talking about. Marriage is giving consent publicly. I will sleep with this man for rest of my life. That's what you ladies are saying when you are taking his ring and kissing him in this ceremony. That's why the ceremony exists in the first place. To tell, that's why we have witnesses in America, best man or a bride maiden. I don't remember. In my country, it's called witnesses. That's why we have them, because they are there to witness the ceremony and tell the rest of the society, oh, this man and this woman became couple. They are family. She granted him access to have JJ, to her vagina, so he will sleep with her until the rest of her life. This is how it's supposed to be. And they're supposed to live together, probably in the house, because if the woman would be staying at home, having families, and not attempting in workforce and not divorcing, then there would be not saturation of house market. So every standard man who is capable to work hard or work well, would be capable to actually buy a house for his family. So she would be staying at home with the house with his children. And we need society that will actually force us, we need a regime that will force society to do precisely that. So no more women in the workforce. Young women until 30 years of their age are forced to marry someone and start to have children with them. And that someone will be her commander, not husband, but commander. And in commander, I mean that he is command of his house. So he is telling her what they will do. He is telling her what she can or can do. He is telling her when they will have children or not her. And this will actually save human lives. Because Lily Phillips, instead of fucking 100 men, would be now staying at home, probably with two children, with her commander husband. And she will be taking about the house, take care about the garden, and maybe some workers inside the house. This is how society is supposed to work. And there are actually several reasons for that, but people do not understand it. In the episode of whatever podcast where there was Andrew Andrew Wilson's wife Rachel was arguing the girls, young feminist girls, was asking her why their marriage is working. Uh, the point is, you're supposed to not like the marriage. Marriage, yeah, when you like your husband and when your marriage is wonderful, fairy tale, it's wonderful, yes. But you, husband and wife, marriage is not here to you to like it. Marriage here is to put humans in mind. That's what most people do not understand. Marriage is here because it's forcing two people to come under Michelangelo's effect. Michelangelo's effect is about the famous sculptor and painter Michelangelo that he said it something like that when he is creating sculpture from the stone, the stone is also recreating him. It's typical like artists saying that, oh, I don't see picture on the painting, but the painting is also inside of me. It's like that. The Michelangelo's effect in the marriage means that we're supposed to put two people, man and woman, together, so there will be constant friction between them. That will actually, after time, will solve them, both of them. That's the point of that marriage. It's not to be happily live after. No, that's just Disney fairy tale or modern fairy tale story that most, especially women, believe. No, marriage is not here for that. It's here to actually soften you and your husband. That two pointy stones after 20, 30 years became two pebble stones. Very soft, very good on the hand, and not very aggressive. Both of you. This why marriage without capability of divorce is supposed to be. Only way how the marriage will end is when one of the persons will die. So he or she became widow. That's only way. and widows can marry again, but not divorce. And this, my point is that one of the commenters, one of the comments on what Lily Phillips did actually made one of the points. And I don't believe he was some internet troll that he is just telling, "Oh, you are evil person, you should kill yourself." He actually made comment, "Oh, one day she will kill herself because all that trauma." And it's not just, it's just pointing reality, because we knew that lots of porn stars are actually committing suicide. Lots of porn stars kill themselves or end their lives in different ways, like overdose. They, because they knew that they are doing something bad, and they are using drugs to numb themselves from situation like Lily Phillips did go went through, and she's planning to do it again. This is actually a person who will probably, it's like, I believe there is 90% chance that in the future this person will actually kill herself. I hope she will find a husband that will take care about her and will not allow as soon as possible, and will not allow her to be used by her friend Bonnie or other people who are sustain on the salary from her finance. But the chance is very low, and this is where Gilead is supposed to come. Gilead is better than what we have, because Gilead will not allow girls like her to destroy themselves. Yes, it will take them when they are young, let's say in their 18s, maybe early, and just force them to marry some man. By the way, even in Gilead, as the second book says, the girls actually can choose men. It's not like they choose some boy or man and say, "Oh, this is your future husband and you must marry him." No, even in Gilead, girls have right to choose. So it's not evil as much. And the second thing, I'm talking about women, the women that will commit suicide, but there are actually men who are committing suicide as well. And that's what I actually, that's the second example what I want to talk about. Why the Gilead is better than what we have today. And it was actually from whatever podcast. I already told you that it's this dating podcast created by Brian Atlas. The Andrew Wilson, the husband from Rachel Wilson, is often there and arguing with the woman. And there was, you can find the clip on YouTube, probably. I do not remember how it's called. Misunderstood Predator is using man. And that was actually the first thing what noticed me, that I actually made a video, episode about it, what I call my love letter to whatever podcast. I want to, through that episode, I did want to thank them and point out the situation on whatever podcast. Just few weeks ago, was this girl or woman, young woman, and it revealed something very disturbing. I point out that she was, usually the girls who are going to whatever podcast are sexualized themselves very much. They look almost like these porn stars from the porn industry. They always need to show themselves, and constantly they have constantly need to show their breasts and their skin and things like that. But this girl was kind of gray mouse. She was not like very expressing, if I say that. And by the way, she was porn actress as well. She admitted she made several porn videos as well. But mm, I don't want to say I don't believe that, but she was not looking like that. That's my point. She was like average. And the point in whatever podcast, what many people, many enemies of that podcast are making is that they are inviting only femgirls, only basically prostitutes, and the normal girl is not like that, and normal girls are not behaving like that. But this is actually a great example. It's not true that you can invite girl that is looking totally normally. Yes, she made few porn videos in the past, but actually she was not porn star only first anymore, and she looked totally normally. Like Grey Mouse, you would never think about her that she's actually doing something like that, or she did something like that. But what it reveals, she reveals, and she said it publicly, and after actually Andrew was started pointing out that she's doing something wrong, she started to little bit take a back seat and not taking responsibility when she was realizing that there is something bad what she's doing. For I believe 1 year she has a man as her own pet, as her own dog. And I don't mean like in the way like in the bedroom that they are playing on that in sexual way that he's aroused by thinking that his dog during their sexual and then he behaves normal. No, 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 no. No, I mean like kink or fetish. No, 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 no. If if it would be fetish in the room during the role play for the sex, I would say okay, that I don't want to say normal, but yes, that would be understandable. But no, there was actual man who stayed for 1 year with that girl, with that woman, in her home, acting like his dog, whole time. Whole time he's acting like his dog. He is every night he was sleeping on the ground in dog bed, not in normal bed with her, but as the pet, as the dog, literally lying on the ground. She was also using him as living hanger for the jacket when her friends come in her house. So picture it. He was literally standing inside the room where her and her friend was, let's say, checking up, discussing things and having fun, while he was literally standing there as the sculpture with jackets or coats of her friends. Do not move away. And through that, because Andrew became angry and Brian also, but actually I consider that they failed because they failed to express openly that that person is mentally not stable, probably mentally ill, and she's supposed to not use his mental illness, but she was constantly arguing with them that he actually allowed her to treat him like that. And the Brian and Andrew was unfortunately not able to explain her that if that man is literally mentally ill, he could not consent to this kind of behavior. And it actually show up this ugliness of the situation. So picture it. There was a mentally ill man who was treated like dog or coat hanger by the woman. That kind of look, and that's why I'm pointing out, the girl looked like normal, but because that girl, that woman, had trauma, before that, because some man before was using her, maybe sexual assault her or something like that, because she had bad childhood with her own mother, then she feel entitled to treat man better. And it's actually common theme in whatever podcast and in other podcasts. The women are treated by men badly in the past, and now they believe they have passed to basically treat men badly back. And it's again perpetual mother because she was teach she was raised by her own mother to behave towards man badly, and the man, because she treats man badly, man treats badly her back. And she, and there's the cherry on the top, she has child as well. She has young daughter, and the daughter is living with her in her in her house next to this mentally ill man that is playing like his dog. And this is precisely what feminism is doing. It's creating this infinite loop. Because what will that girl learn from her childhood? That I could treat men like trash. The men are just dogs for me to be pleased. So she will actually start the OnlyFans, if the OnlyFans will be available when that girl, the daughter of that woman, what is treating that man, the ill man, mentally ill man, if that if in that future OnlyFans still will be, she will find OnlyFans. She will treat man badly back, but man will treat her badly back, and it will create infinite loop that she will treat them badly, and some of them will treat her badly back, and so she will treat them even worse than before, and that will actually force the man behave towards her even worse, and she will end up sleeping with hundreds of men in 24 hours. And the worst part is that I realized the same thing as with Lily Quinn, as with this mentally ill man. Maybe maybe he will overcome it. And by the way, that woman actually admitted that she even thinks that man who is playing as dog, acting like a dog in her own home, that he's probably not mentally well, that he's probably sicker. She admitted as itself. But it doesn't matter because she is already angry on man because some man in her past have caused some kind of trauma on her. So now she's causing trauma on that man, and let's say that man will stand up, leave her home, and go. But he will be hunted even when he became mentally stable. This, the fact that he let himself be treated like the dog, be treated like a coat hanger, standing for maybe hours when the women in the room are basically acting like he's thing or maybe laughing on him, that will hunt him. And I genuinely believe that man will probably commit suicide as well in some future. Not because mental illness, but because the fact that he let himself be treated like the dog or like unliving thing for more than a year. That will traumatize him in the future. And one day maybe he will start to realize, oh, I let someone to did this thing to me, and he will just commit suicide. He will kill himself. And this is actually the second reason why we need Gilead, why we need society where women, all the at least adult women will be wife of his husband. There will be always husband, father, or husband that would be actually responsible for her. And in extreme case, like this woman from whatever podcast, he will intervene. If that woman would have a husband, then he will actually go and say to her, hey, you cannot do that. You are treating that man ill, mentally ill man badly. You cannot do that. If the Lily Phillips would have husband, she would be probably staying at home, take care about their children, and not be exploited by some kind of OnlyFans director to sell her nudes, to sell videos how she is run by through 100 men. So the Gilead would be literally a better system than it is because it would save lives. And there's also another reason why all the women will or supposed to be somebody's wife because they're supposed to have men above her that will actually force her to behave. This is a huge issue, by the way, in our society because we let our women loose. That's the problem. And I don't mean in sexual way. I mean in all other ways. There's often said that two men, when they are arguing with each other, when they are in discussion, because there is always chance of physical violence, then it's forcing both sides to behave in civil way. Basically, if I am arguing with some other man, there is always threat that if I say something very hard, if I will behave towards him unpleasant way, he can punch me back. He can physically attack me, and the same danger is for him. And most men, because of that, are forced to behave civilized. The problem is that women, because we have culture that you cannot beat women cannot be behave as well. So that's why they are constantly this crazy. That's why they have feel that they can uh, take shirt off and start to behave crazy on public and things like that. Because nobody will force them to behave, and that's why they are ill mannered. That's the problem in our society. And I know, let's say there is one YouTuber what I'm watching who says that the violence on the woman are unacceptable. And I understand why he believes that. I understand why that is part of the culture. Simplistically say, our culture, our civilization, we as humans, we learn that if there will be violence on the woman allowed, if every man could be capable to use his power on women and be violent towards women population will be very traumatized and would be collapsing. That's basically some kind of heritage knowledge what we have discovered through probably generations. And it's right. We supposed to suppress violence on the woman because other side the women became too traumatized and unable to function properly in society, and that's bad. But it did create the error that women are not behaved and they are acting selfishly and ill-mannered. That's the problem. That's what actually Jordan Peterson, uh, what he means when he says that the modern man do not have way how to behave crazy woman. We don't have. That's the problem. Because if there was crazy woman on my on street that will basically attack me or do something bad to me, I don't have as the man ability to put her in her place. That's what he's right. And it goes so crazy that I remember one exception, one example of that. A few months ago, in my country, there was a case that 30-year-old woman was in gym, and there was a 62-year-old man who was just going through the mobile of his, and she thought that he's taking picture of her or video of her when she was doing something, and she went to him and punched him in the slap him in the face that she destroyed his glasses that cost almost $1,000. And entire situation is so crazy. Why the woman thought that she is right, even when he would be really taking pictures or video of her. When she, how she, when she, why she believed that she has right to go and physically attack him. She attacked 62-year-old man that he was in fitness, in gym. 60-year-old man who goes to the gym, we're supposed to applaud him. We're supposed to cherish this, someone in his age is capable even to went to gym. But he believed she believed that she's so special that he could not take a picture of her and went to him and physically attacked him and destroy part of his property that cost $1,000. It's unbelievable. And that's why we need Gilead. That's why we need that every woman would have father or husband that will put her in a place, that will force her to behave. So that will basically error with no woman could be heard. Yeah, on public, or for you unknown woman, you cannot behave. That's all right, because we don't want to create too much trauma in the woman. But on the other hand, it's actually very well working system, because let's say I got some problem that my wife, I don't have wife, but let's say take this metaphor. My wife is, or my daughter is bullied in the school by my neighbor's wife. I'm supposed to not have right to go and do what. I will approach her and I will first start to talk with her. Hey, something bad happened or here happening. I want you to stop. Stop doing that. And when she denies that, or she will say that she will not stop doing that, then I supposed to not have right to punch her, because that would allow basically anyone to punch the woman. But I should have right to go to her husband, because I am the man and her husband is also man. So I can punch him. So I could go punch my neighbor and says, your wife is bullying, let's say, my wife, and you're supposed to deal with that. Or I just tell him, and he will say, okay, I will take care of it, because my wife is my responsibility. And then he will physically punish his wife. And everything is settled. This is how society is supposed to be structured. Because there's supposed to be a hierarchical structure that was in the past, and feminism basically destroyed. There's supposed to be child, and if child is doing something bad, then the mother is supposed to behave child. It's her responsibility. So if you have problems with the child, then you go to the mother, and mother is supposed to force child to behave. If the mother could not behave the child, or if the wife, is not capable to sustain her child, then you are going to the father. And father is responsible for the wife and for the children. And he is supposed to have right to force to behave wife and children as well. And then if the husband do not accept that, if he says that there's no problem, then you are going to hire authority, let's say some state officials or feudal or something like that, someone above him, and above that is king or the leaders of the state. This is perfect hierarchical system. And it makes sense because men's go into women's argument against that is always the same. Oh, what if the husband will be violent towards me? Or what if the husband will not take care about me and will not give me the money? Then for that argument, then there is other man who's supposed to behave your husband, or there is authority above all the men that is some feudal or state representative. That's how it works. And state representative or feudal behaving men's, but not women's supposed to be behaved by the men, by their husbands. This is this was actually working system back then. Yes, sometimes it's broke and it collapsed, I know, but it was actually working system where we must go back to, because others our society is collapsing. Because if, let's say, representative or feudal, if he's supposed to behave just man, in if you have some feudal in some kind of district, you have just, let's say, three villages or small city under him, if he's supposed to force behave only men under him, it's much less people when he's supposed to behave also the woman. But women supposed to be responsibility of of their husbands. So when there is problem with the woman, you're supposed to go to her husband and says, "Hey, your woman is not behaving properly. Go and fix it." And if there is problem with the husband, you go to higher authority, to some patriarchy, as the feminists would say, some state representative, some feudal or something, or major of the city or something like that, and he's supposed to say to husband, "You supposed to behave." And in feminist argument, what if the husband is violent, or what if the husband is not take care about the woman, like not giving the money to the woman and children, and they are living in hunger and poverty? That's where the authority is. I already spoke on this channel one time. There was a woman who was actually in our modern time, and she was complaining that she was from some fundamental Jewish community from the New York, and in this community, women are still there's still dual marriage, and she was forced to marry some man what she did not know, but the man was violent. He became angry and violent towards was in first day, and in just 1 week he was violent towards her. And she was saying because of that she was forced to leave the community has forsaken her, and she could not talk or communicate with her family at all because she divorced him. And when I heard that, I thought myself that where was the father of the wife? Where was the brothers of that woman? If she was hurt by the man, by her husband, why she do not go to her father, and her father do not go back to her husband and put knife under his some kusher big knife under his neck and says, "Hey, if you will touch my daughter ever again, I will literally cut you like a pig." This is what's supposed to happen. Why? So it's not was failure of the deal marriage system, it was failure of that community. And I genuinely believe in that community, the people back then supposed to take responsible, take her back, and as as apology that they don't behave her husband. And this is how society is supposed to work. There's supposed to be hierarchy, where it's the man as the commander, as the husband of the wife, and he's responsible for her, and he could behave her. And if that would be true, then Lily Phillips would be wife, probably mother right now, and she would not be destroying herself. If that would be true, then young woman, this gray mouse from whatever podcast, would have a husband that it would never allow some mentally ill man to go inside his house to act like his dog. And at least two lives would be saved. But don't forget, the feminists are telling you that Handmaid's Tale is the worst what can happen. This evil patriarchy and Gilead is bad. It's propaganda. It's propaganda of your enemies, dear ladies and gentlemen. Think about it. Of course, they will say the worst things about the regime that is opposite of theirs. They will say, "Oh, in Gilead, sometimes hang some people." Yeah, in more autocratic system, there will be probably people who will be executed for the crime. But you can argue if one crime deserves to capital punishment or not. Uh, let's say in my society, in my culture, my people, my Czechs are very, how to say it, we are very soft on thievery. If someone stole here something, we look upon it like it's something normal. Our people are not like stealing very much, but when someone steals, we don't see that as problem. And that's basically the biggest problem what I see in my nation, in my state, that our willingness to accept thievery and stolen things. But the point is that if let's say there was village in my country and one man will rob from his neighbor all his finance that will force him to move away from the village, sold down his house, start living as the poverty, and it will force his young daughter become prostitute in very young age. Then the other guys from the village would not say, well, maybe say a few bad words, but he would be going to the pub and drinking beer with that man who robbed the money from his neighbor as nothing happened. Because we see that as not very big crime. But if there was man in the village who would, let's say, rape his neighbor young daughter, then the man from the village would literally hang that man on the nearest tree. Not maybe not literally, but at least they will beat him for several times probably because they understand that this is a big crime. And we can argue what is bigger crime to destroy family because the finance that will actually force the young daughter from that family to become prostitute eventually, or just rape her for one time. What's the worst crime? And we can argue with that. Yes, and of course they're supposed to be capital crime, and I believe they're supposed to be capital crime. Sorry, capital punishment. They're supposed to be executions for some crimes. And yes, we can argue what it is, but there is capital crime. Sorry, capital punishment. There are execution in America still. There are these punishment in many countries still, but we don't say that they are evil. And okay, Gilead is Gilead is executing people. That's bad. But the way how the Handmaid's Tale is pointing out, first of all, what I did tell in the past in my review of Handmaid's, it's showing you the system only for from point of view of one woman of the Handmaid's Tale. Handmaid's Tale June, the main character, is the bad person. She was the person who actually stole some other woman husband. So she was bad even from perspective of feminists. She was bad. She did something crime and she was punished. And she gets the chance to choose. I know it's bad choosing, but she could go to colonies, basic concentration camp, or became handmaids. That means that she would be fucked once a month by different men. She accepted that, but the entire series almost forgot about that, almost until last season. She chose that, and she was punished for her bad behavior. And actually, she was from the group that was privileged before. She was typical liberal university woman. That's our in our society privilege. Of course, if the system was switched and turned, that their privileged group will be turned unprivileged group, and there will be another group that will be privileged instead of them. It happened. I already experienced that. As I told you, I was born and lived my childhood in communist country and then in Sweden. In communist dictatorship, if I do not talk about party members, or if I do not include party members, communists very like minors. They like miners, like especially coal and uranium miners. They love them so much. They was privileged class in our country. And then system switch, and then now they are unprivileged, and they are constantly crying. They do not have much as privilege as they did have before. Yes, in communists there was basically no bourgeoisie, no businessman at all, and they were seen as something evil. Now they are privileged in this society. Don't you think that if the society, if the regime was switched, then unprivileged will be privileged, and privilege of today will be unprivileged in the future? This has happened. But we must look on the system as the whole. We must saw the wider picture. Will that system save us, save human lives? It will. If we for it will save lives, it will create lives because it will fix our problem with collapsing population. It will force women behave again. It will give men the ability to work, prosper, and create in their work again. Instead of today's man must go, must clean his house, must cook because he don't have wife, but that's the time when he could put in effort in his work. I know it on myself that I could actually stay longer hours in my work, put inside my work as much energy as it's possible. But if I would have wife, when I would just come to home and everything will be clean, she would clean, she will cook, she will care about my clothing and my dress, she will take care about the children, and I will just come and give her money. It's actually a very working system because her effort is put inside me so I could put more effort into my work. And the feminists always argue only about these exceptions men who do not put that effort to the work. And yes, there are minority of men that they are bad, that they are bad husbands, that they are bad, and that's why we other men must behave that man. That's why we need solid state, why we need Gilead, a system where other men will be forced to be in check, so they will actually work harder. So yes, I believe the man is supposed to go to work 6 days in a week, work from dawn to dusk every day. If they would have wife, they would spend their money and take care about other things what he's supposed to take care when he would be alone. And I know that the picture of the Gilead from Handmaid's Tale is basically propaganda of other side, pointing out the worst things and just pointing out, doing this major mythology. What actually angers me most was when in like first series that says that Gilead was circumcising a woman. I was so angry about that because this is typical propaganda. Because we white men, we don't do that. Fuck you. If you said, and by the way, there is a movie called Poor Things, another feminist propaganda from some, I believe, Mexican Mexican producer or writer or something like that. And he also says that white men are are circumcising women. No, we are not. If some feminists says that we are doing that, they are putting us in the same bag with rest of the men all over. But if they like it, they point out that only white men are the bad one and other men are good ones. It's typical as the main creator of Handmaid's Tale, the series, the show, the actual main actress, what played June, Elizabeth Moss, she's also playing in the movie Invincible, and the movie is saying that white men are evil, but she is friend with this muscular, very sexy black man. Again, typical feminist leftist idol. White men are evil, black men are actually good. If you want to fuck with them. No. So think about it. Stop no. Stop thinking about the Gilead, about evil word, what feminists are telling you that. Gilead system, autocratic system, where we will be forcing people to be together to recreate marriage of one man, one husband with one wife, one family in their houses. It's actual system what we need because that system will save life. And my greatest argument was even in review of Handmaid's Tale. Because at the end of, I believe, fourth season, there is this fly of the angel. Main character took like 80 or 60 to 80 children and put them in the plane to fly them from the evil Gilead, basically United States, to Canada, but it's still free. Uh, I point out one thing. these children, at least most of them, was alive because the Gilead. Because the Gilead exists, these children exist. And that's my point. If the Gilead existed, then Lily Phillips would not kill herself in the future, but she would be probably somebody's wife and created another life, have at least 2 or 3 children right now. If Gilead existed, this crazy, predatory, misandrous woman from whatever podcast would be not able to exploit ill-minded man, and that man would be probably normal part of the society. Someone would take care about him, and she would be again wife of some husband, and she would probably have more than just one child. So win for everybody. At least 2 lives would be saved, and many other lives would be created. So please tell me, dear feminists, how is that system is evil and you are the good? It's finally start to stop belief in the lies of the left and the lies of the feminism, and start to fight against Aschen's complex that is trying to destroy our society. They are the evil, not Gilead, not we, not Manosphere. They are the evil. They who forcing girl to sleep with 100 men in one night, to forcing another woman to use mentally ill man to be basically slave of her. That's evil system. They are evil. Not we. Not Gilead. Gilead is the right thing. And Gilead is a solid state. And I hope the solid state is future. The sooner the better. Because who else will save Lily Phillips? Who else will save that poor, mentally ill man lying like a dog on the ground next to the bed of traumatized, arrogant, selfish woman? Who will save them? Who other than the solid state? Thank you for listening. Both series, Aschen's Complex and Lies of the Left. And the next episode of Solid State, I'm looking to hear it. I'm looking to be heard by you again. Goodbye and good day to all of you. Bye.